welcome to Leaders of Tomorrow, India's largest platform for small businesses. I'm Sunanda Jaiseelan. Tonight we have a very special panel discussion where we have Facebook India talking about how the country's small businesses are transforming themselves digitally. We're also going to hear from two small businesses themselves talking about how they have used technology to transform and prepare themselves for growth and for the future. My colleague Pooja Jain moderated that panel discussion. Let me quickly, before handing it over to her, also introduce our panelists tonight. Ajinkya Hange, farmer, co-founder, Two Brothers Organic Farm; Pritesh Asher, co-founder, CEO, Juicy Chemistry; Archana Vora, Director, Small and Medium Business, Facebook India.
Archana, I'd love to kick off this conversation with you. And given that there are more than 300 million users that either like or follow an Indian small business Facebook page, that still seems to be just scraping the surface. If we were to compare that, for example, to the 3 billion Facebook users globally, your thoughts on the progress made to date?
That's a great question, and I love it when the anchor starts with data. So let me make the same bridge that you did, right? So we have close to about 200 million businesses globally that use our platforms, right? And they use our platforms predominantly for business. As you're aware, our tools are absolutely free. Right? Let me take the bridge. The bridge is very clear, right? I think the bridge is that post-COVID and now post-Diwali, there is a digital surge. And increasingly businesses, whether they're businesses from tier 2, tier 3 cities or large businesses, they are completely moving online. And this whole line of a small business being called a small business is completely, rubbed off the ground. You have Ajinkya here, you have Pritesh here. They will tell you they're as large as large businesses can get. But I think the other important piece that is important to know is the changes that have come have been these, right? One is that we continue to drive discovery to demand. So what we've seen a huge surge in is increasingly customers and increasingly businesses who want to go directly to the customer, which means, I love this blue outfit you're wearing. I want to order it now. And therefore, I will Instagram you right away. If you were a business and say, hi, I really like it, can I purchase it? And that entire conversion, which is, I found a customer, I had a page, and I made a sale, is completely happening on our platform. So I think that is the one big change. And I think the other big change is also the fact that in India, right, we have about 434 million people who use Facebook every month. Couple that with the total number of businesses that we service globally and the 15 million businesses that are on the WhatsApp business app. And you have the opportunity, you have the platform, you have the discovery, you have, the whole business cycle getting converted from offline to online on the platform.
Pritesh, bringing you into the conversation now. Juicy Chemistry is, of course, an organic skin and personal care startup. And given that the term organic is so overused and oftentimes so misunderstood, to what extent has Facebook helped you identify a relevant audience?
That's a great question, Pooja. I think that's a question we deal with every single day as a problem solution approach. I think, like you rightly said, Pooja, a term which is so widely used, yet so little understood about this terminology. And this is something that we refer to as greenwashing in our line of business, where the greenness of the product is oversold to the consumer, making them believe that the product is inky list clean. And I think that's a problem that we are actually solving for every single day. Now, when it comes to knowledge transfer to the consumer, which holds very high in our agenda before they actually can make that purchase or basically understand what organic is all about. For us, it was extremely important to pass on the knowledge of organic to the consumer so that they could actually make an informed choice. Organic is so misunderstood that so much so as, a couple of ingredients or maybe an ingredient used in an entire formulation could pass off as organic technically because there are no terminologies defining the words by law, if I may put it that way.
Absolutely.
Important that the consumer understands what is the difference between a certified organic product and a product that's claiming itself to be organic. What Facebook actually helped us do is first go to this low-hanging fruit by filtering consumers that would understand, or that discerning consumer that would understand the difference between a farming that was done organically and a farming that was done commercially, right? These were some interests that were available on Facebook, which we could actually target immediately, like, for example, sustainable living, organic farming, for example. And then we were able to get to a cohort which would actually understand what sustainable farming and organic farming was. Understanding was the first key that Facebook helped us deliver to the consumer. The challenge was not that, will the consumer buy or not? Now that the consumer was informed, the onus lied onto the consumer to make that choice. So that was very important for us, that, we didn't push the product, but we created a pull for the kind of product that we were trying to get to the consumer.
Jinky, I'd love to come to you now, building on some of Pritesh's observations. Now, with Two Brothers Organic Farm, Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram have allowed you to build a global following. Yet, how do you go about auditing that audience and auditing that following to ensure that a significant number of them are in fact converting into paying customers?
Correct. So your first question was, like you rightly said, organic was a word that was loosely being used in the industry. You had a lot of brands out there which claim to be organic. I think what Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp allowed us to do was we could share our farming practices transparently on these platforms. So all the different plots of farms that we had, the processing, when you're organic, it's all on a small scale. The farming is on a small scale. The products you're making they're all artisanal. They're small batches. It's made by village women folk. So we could show all of this and in a way build that credibility, build that trust, and actually show you what organic is beyond certifications. So thanks to platforms like these, like Facebook, that we could reach to the end consumer. Now, beyond just proving or showing organic practices, what Facebook also helped us was to build a community around it. So not just in India, but we had farmers from across the globe following our farming practices.
Right.
In the past 3 years, we've had farmers from 16 countries, from US, Italy, France, Germany, Austria, from across the globe that have come over, that have stayed at the farm, that have learned the right farming practices. So it's helped us build communities. It's gone beyond organic farming to building communities, to getting people of the similar interests, similar likings coming together. And yes, it's broken barriers. We've gone international with these platforms. And we being small businesses, all of this happens at no cost. I mean, Facebook is free, Instagram is free, so no extra charges being paid for it.
Ashna, coming to you now, present company aside, what are some of the leading challenges that small businesses face in building their digital footprint? And perhaps building on that, what are some of the most commonly made mistakes?
Let me take that question in two parts. I think first, thank you, Ajinkya. I think everything that you say is so heartening to hear, but more importantly, I love the life lessons more than anything else. So thank you for doing the work that you do. I think the most common challenges are these, right? The first challenge is when you come onto the platform or when you come online, and this whole thing of I need to create a page. And so there is a lot of for the want of a better word, digital phobia, which is how do I create my first page? How do I place my first picture? How do I make sure that I get new customers? I think those would be the three top challenges. And I think that's where a lot of the work that we now do on the Grow Your Business Hub that we've just launched is really about hand-holding the customer to say wherever you may be on the journey, there is steps that you can take to make sure your business is scaling. So अगर पेज नहीं बन रहा है तो GYB hub में जाके पेज ऐसे बनता है. Or you are a mid-tier customer and you want to scale. So you're deeply concerned about, say, your return on advertising spend. And therefore, you use that in order to make sure that you can reach out to customers. In fact, for this set, we also do, and we just released the GYB, it's a published playbook that tells customers on how can they use creative to drive performance for their businesses.
Right.
So the first challenge is learning. The second challenge, I think, in many ways, and COVID made it really real for us and for every small business in the country, is the fact that there is a working capital crunch. There isn't insufficient amount of money to spend. There are salaries to pay, and every campaign that you create costs $1. And therefore, we stepped in there in order to make sure we can help customers, and we launched our loans program 2 months ago, which basically offers loans at extremely competitive predefined interest rates to the customers using one of our partners. So I think the second challenge is really working capital. And then the third challenge, I think, is really the part where you want more learning on a sub-vertical or vertical. So for example, Pritesh here and Ajinkya here both spoke of organic, right? Organic is niche. Organic isn't generic, right? It isn't like a CPG category, for example. And therefore, that's where we come in with our programs like the Managed Partners program, which provides vertical, sub-vertical specific handholding to customers, absolutely free for 90 days. And that program has seen 16x growth in the last year and a half. So again, that's where we come in to say, okay, now you're scaling, let's help you do that. And then the last leg is really working with our VC partners as part of our VCBI program, where very young businesses who just got funded but face P&L challenges, how should they solve across the board in terms of maintaining both their return on advertising spend, their intent to scale, and yet not like going overboard because they have a P&L to manage. And that's where our advertiser bootcamp program plays a significant role, where we reach out to about 15 million customers in Hindi, just telling them ki bhai, ye karna hai, ye sab nahi karna hai. So spend your dollar wisely or spend your rupee wisely. And so I think those are the key challenges, and we will continue to solve for them as we have.
Ajinkya, given that the Make in India movement has garnered so much momentum, there's a lot of strong sentiment around, vocal for local. And yet many small businesses are now of the view that while they're making in India, they are making for the world. So how have you leveraged the Facebook platform to essentially reach out and build a customer base outside of India? And how has the platform enabled you to tap into new growth opportunities and potentially new customer communities as well?
Super. So I'll answer this with an example. So back in 2017, we had a customer from Michigan. His name was Siddharth, and he was following our work on Facebook. And he liked the products, he liked the farming practices we were doing, and he asked for the products. At that time, we did not have any of these licenses or the know-how to send it across to the US, but he was persistent. And with his persistency, we ended up removing all the necessary licenses, all the necessary certifications, and sent the ghee bottle across to him way back in 2017. Now, fast forward just 4 years. Today, when we look back, we've sent successfully all our products close to around 48 countries across the globe and close to 695 cities. Now, all of this started with that one customer and no marketing cost. So we've never printed a pamphlet, we've never printed a brochure. There's been no international advertising spend ever. And we've got a good customer base across the globe today.
Ajinkya, Archana also referenced digital phobia a short while ago, in that a lot of times there's this hesitancy to take the first step when it comes to small businesses and building their digital presence. So, as Two Brothers Organic Farm kind of marched forward from milestone to milestone, in your experience, was there a single collated platform that had all of the relevant and vetted information that a small business would need in this regard? Or were your discoveries more organic along the way?
Super. So like you said, when you're starting small, when you're bootstrapped, when you're a startup, you need to reach out to the end customer. Just to share, when we started farming for the first 4 years, whatever we grew at the farms, we sold it to the APMC or to the wholesale mandi. And parallelly, we were sharing whatever we were doing at the farms, whether it was harvesting, whatever farming practices, the cow grazing that we were doing. We used to keep sharing this just out of joy, out of sheer happiness. We were happy at the place we were. We were sharing this on all the social media platforms, on Instagram, on Facebook. We never thought that this would eventually help us sell our products. We were doing it more from a joy point of view. When we sold to the wholesale mandis, to the offline retail, we never turned profitable. And from 2017 onwards, when we got online and started selling on the Instagram shop, on Facebook, putting up our work, people started commenting on it, liking, discussions around it, a community being built around it. And eventually, international happened. So when we started off, we never thought, through Facebook, we could end up selling through 48, 50 countries, or getting customers from there, coming over to the farms, staying at the farms, visitors from across the globe. But then, yeah, it's happened. So if you're a small and medium business, I think Facebook or Instagram has sort of leveled the world for you, whether you're big or small. It's kind of flattened the world. And if you can tell your story well, if you're really doing it with a lot of passion, it just gets across to the right set of customers.
And Archana, you referenced the Facebook Small Business Loans Initiative a bit earlier in this conversation. And what I'd like to understand from you, from the benefit of our viewers, are what are the parameters to qualify for such financial assistance if you're a small business on the Facebook platform?
Well, that's a great question. So what you need to do is, so the entire loan offering, as I said, is launched with our third-party partner, Indify. What it allows you to do is, as an advertiser, you can, reach out, apply for the loan. Your loan application will get processed, keeping in mind the guidelines that, we work very closely with the partner on, which means that you will get a loan if you're eligible in an interest rate of between 17 to 20%. The loans are available in 200 cities. And so they're available to the smaller cities. There is a subsidy for womenpreneurs. And the loans are kind of provided in a defined time period, which basically means you get the assistance when you need it and you don't have to stand in long lines and fill long forms or present like large historical P&Ls, because a lot of the young businesses don't have that, right? They started 8 months ago, or they started just when COVID came up because it became a real reason for them to go and get livelihood online. So I think that's what is what businesses can do. But more importantly, I think it is the spirit of the small and medium business that I do want to call out again, that it isn't jugaad. Like a lot of people say, small business na bahut jugaad hote hain. I don't think they're coming from a point of view of jugaad. There is a need and they know how to fulfill the need using the platform because the tools are free and they value their money that they are putting on the platform. And so the more nuance that they get, or the more performance oriented that they get, or the harder they make their dollar work, I think that's what we're there for. And that's what we truly value.
Phenomenal. And by way of closing comments, and I pose this question to all of my panelists, and I'll start with you, Pritesh, taking into consideration the current market scenario and investment scenario, the current sentiments when it comes to small and medium enterprises, how bullish are you on this sector and its future growth prospects? Pritesh, over to you.
Thank you. Yes, absolutely. We are extremely bullish on the current scenario. If you see the capital markets today, there is a lot of liquidity there. There is good recognition for small businesses, like Archana was saying. If there is a need, if there is a demand from the consumer, small businesses are able to actually fulfill that demand much faster because they are so nimble. There is not a very long corporate ladder they need to climb to make decisions. I think that's the reason why they're able to get to the consumer faster. They're able to understand the pulse of the market much faster and hence able to scale their businesses with the tools that are available to them. And they are getting there at a much nimble back end and a faster pace as well. So I think for small businesses, this is sun shining. It's time to make hay. Absolutely no doubt about the current scenario. And I think India as a market has come out of this COVID extremely well. I think we've bounced back phenomenally, and how. And it's now time for us to take advantage of this situation that is there and grow strength to strength. And small businesses are here to stay and will grow and give competition to the larger players for sure.
JK, what's your take?
So extremely bullish on small businesses. All of this, all the online platforms, it's worked beautifully for small businesses because there is no boundaries. In our case, for example, we've been selling across the globe. So and while selling was one thing on our mind, what's parallelly happened is a lot of community building. So we've had close to 9,000 farmers visit the farms. They come, they exchange ideas. We've learned cheese making from a lot of Italian farmers. So, and these are all small farmers. Anybody and everybody who's visiting us, it's all small scale, artisanal, handmade, and all local people. So I think it's acted as a catalyst for all small businesses.
And Arsha, I'll give you the last word.
Yeah, I am supremely bullish. You heard me, right? 63 million businesses in the country. Globally, we service over 200 million small and medium businesses. You've heard the stories today, right? I can summarize with another story, which is the Country Delight story. Yeah? A 600 crore agri-tech brand that's completely built on the platform with a lot of effort by the founding team, right? So I think this is the time for small and medium businesses, or should I say small and medium businesses are no longer small. So that's how I would look at it.
That makes for a wonderful note upon which to close. All of your optimism is extremely heartening to hear. Thank you for taking the time to speak with us, and we wish all three of you continued success. Thank you
so much. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
All right, out of time on that panel discussion. If you have any feedback for us, we are all ears. Contact details on your screens as we speak. Do let us know what you thought of tonight's panel. And if you're a business that's transformed yourself digitally, do let us know. We'd love to tell your story as well. That's it from us tonight. Thanks for watching.